You're rolling? Mm-hmm. I'm rolling. All right. So, hello, Brian Lee. As you're drinking coffee or something.
That was rude. Hi, Linda.
I want to do something different today. I actually want you to do the intro live.
Oh, do I have to type it out? Did you text me? Did you email me the script?
No, but
so can I just mimic you? Okay, go.
Yeah. This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. One more. This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
Okay, so now we need something different because I actually have that one already.
Oh. Do you want me to throw anything out? Maybe I'll do it. You want a nicer, like a more conversational one or something?
Yeah, do one like that.
This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. I'm getting told to be casual these days.
Yeah, now do one where you're laughing through it.
This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
Great. Now give me one where you're angry and you don't really want to be on the podcast.
I mean, this is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. Jesus.
All right. I'm going to put a script in the chat window. You can...
I need to take your class. Hi, everybody. This is Brian Lee. He's looking for pointers in voiceover.
That's right. I'm basically, coaching you the way that I do when I try to have people give me the assessment if they can do voiceover. So I'm like, go angry, go happy, go bimbo.
Connie Zimmett did that. Did she? Yeah, she had a card. Oh, didn't you love her? She had a card that had a list of professions all over it.
Oh, I remember that card.
Remember that card?
Yeah.
And then she would give you a standard script, like a script for like a shoe store. And then she would go, happy guy.
Yeah.
It's like right now at Rob's shoe store, you can save 50% on, and then she would go, angry New York, Brooklyn cop, where,
I know.
Where something like, we've got blue shoes, we got red shoes, we got, and then she'd go, baseball announcer, we've got red shoes, we've got blue shoes, all the way, and she would do it in the middle of the script. And by the time you read a 60-second script, you'd go through like 8 different voices and you had to on the spot. And it really made me self-conscious. That's
a good one. I mean, but she also would do the character key thing, which is similar, but you wouldn't be able to change your accent. You would be imitating the mannerisms, the pacing.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, which is very difficult with your regular read, And can you look at the chat window? Because we haven't even officially
join
started.
Our cloud?
No, the chat window on Zoom.
What is that? Your client has been successfully updated? What?
No, look at the bottom row.
No meeting scheduled. Enjoy your day?
No.
It says, I swear.
Look below your window of where your face is and my face is. That bottom row that says
the window was I had to move it up. Okay. So
hit chat.
Chat 1. That it? One message? Ah!
Yes.
Okay. Is brought to you by. Oh, you want me to say this?
Yes.
In what voice?
The classic Brian Lee voice.
The voice. This is funny. I like this. This is creative. More people should do this. The Voiceover Gurus Podcast is brought to you by no one, because Linda pays for it out of pocket. Stop texting me. The Voiceover Gurus Podcast is brought to you by no one, because Linda pays for it out of pocket. Because Linda pays for it out of pocket. Because Linda pays for it out of pocket.
Can you do it like you do like a very serious news read, like everybody's going to die in the flood?
The Voiceover Gurus Podcast is brought to you by no one, because Linda pays for it out of pocket. The Voiceover Gurus Podcast is brought to you by no one, because Linda pays for it out of pocket. Tonight on Action News. The Voiceover Gurus Podcast is brought to you by no one, because Linda pays for it out of pocket. Is this entertaining you or people?
Yes, I'm enjoying it. I think
Okay,
others will
then we can
enjoy
do
it
this
too.
all damn day. This is fine.
Just one more exercise. We're going to do this is the Voiceover Gurus podcast, but we're going to work on various inflection. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the Voiceover Gurus podcast.
This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
This is the Voiceover Gurus.
This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
This is the.
This is the Voiceover Guru. This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast, or this is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. Depending how you want. I was doing your inflection, so I don't mind line read. I don't mind line read. I get line reads every blue moon. I get them, and there's a guy that in the movie trailers out in L.A. that'll do that. He just wants what he wants, and he goes, can I read? I'm like, dude, we can do this all day. If it means we're going to get done, you go. Let's just do this. I'm fine with it. We can do it all day.
This is great. I think I got my little live intro. Now I will start the music. Mm-hmm.
And should I have been recording that?
Oh, God, please don't do this. You did this last time.
No, I'm kidding.
Or a couple of times ago.
Yeah, right.
Oh, shit. I wasn't recording the Zoom. All right. I'm going to start recording Zoom.
Oh, so you. Okay, you. Yeah.
I screwed up. But anyway, they're going to hear everything in the beginning.
Okay. What are you going to just put up color bars in a tone? Just beep. Us talking under it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, something that's fine because I have a tendency to be in my own mind and I don't look at the camera. I look at people and I might look at you, but I won't look at the camera. And so I'm glad. So now I will. Hi.
That's a good idea, though. I will put those little bars.
Yeah, just color bars.
Yeah. It's fun.
People can calibrate their monitors or their phones. Have you been out to the TWA hotel out at
Yes.
Kennedy?
Yes. It's fabulous.
Yeah. Have you stayed there?
No.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. Dave stayed there. We have that and we have the pens too.
Oh, awesome. They had pencils when I was there. So
that is such a cool hotel.
It is. It is cool.
And they shot Mrs. Maisel there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't have to change anything.
Right. And they dressed it. Well, see, that's interesting because I've been flying into Kennedy for so many years, and the JetBlue gate from Fort Myers lands there. That's, I think, Terminal 5 or 3 or 5. But, when you come down the baggage, that building where, the lobby, that whole terminal was always there, and it said TWA on it, and it was just rotting, and I think they were going to tear it down.
Yeah.
But then they built 2 hotels on either side of it. And it's weird, though, because they didn't change anything at all. And so to get to your room or to the elevator, it's not obvious. You're checking in where the ticket takers are, what are those? The people who work at the airport part. And then there's no ramps for your luggage. So you go, okay, bye. Okay. We're in this building. So you're rolling with your stuff and you come up on like 8 stairs and and you're like, there's no ramp. There's no ramp. There's no elevator. So and there's no signs that say ramp or anything anywhere. So I'm just like, dragging my luggage up the thing and then I, find my room. But yeah, the to get down, it's not anywhere. It's like behind stuff like you come in like behind a restaurant or something to get. It's really weird. I really thought that they would actually make it. And I know that this is an issue. It's like, it's almost like a mystery to try to, so.
I guess they were trying to keep it as true as they could.
Yeah. So if you're going to the TWA airport.
Yeah. Isn't that the same though, that view when you're looking out at the tarmac? That's the same spot where the Beatles landed? In that shot, half of them.
It might be where that Constellation airplane is sitting.
Yes.
Which is now a bar. You go over and do it. It's a bar, yeah, that I did go into. I'm mad, but I didn't go in. But maybe.
Yeah, I think I had heard that. So that's kind of a cool little. So you've been busy lately. What's going on?
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'm always busy. There's always stuff to do. I ended the last year down a little bit, but not as down as I thought I would.
Yeah.
Tend to get a lot of work in the end of the year. So
percentage wise,
that's good.
How much?
9.
9%? Okay.
Maybe not even 9. I started the year down like 25. And then so I got a lot of campaigns towards the end of the year. And right now I'm up 1.8. Actually, I should be up more because a lot of collections haven't come in yet.
Nice.
But yeah, I did the Barbie campaign. And
Cool.
yeah, and that was awesome that Warner Brothers got me for that. And then I did Poor Things, the Emma Stone campaign.
Oh, I want to see
Which,
that.
yeah, me too. And then I just got the new Ghostbusters movie,
Cool.
and they're working that deal out. And I got a booking for Ryan Reynolds' new movie, If, which is the
Ah,
imaginary friend.
congratulations.
So yeah, I mean, I got a reading for it. It doesn't come out until May.
Mm.
Ghostbusters comes out late March. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
other
you don't
than
get
that,
excited by these things anymore.
I'm happy I have them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I am I excited? Yeah, I mean, I am because I've been doing trailers for so long, and a lot of other people that have been doing them are not doing them anymore. And
Really?
so I am very fortunate. I'm just so fortunate. And I'm sure probably the rest of the voiceover industry is going, how does he just keep getting these campaigns? I mean, what is he magical? Is he whatever? And
I
I
think
just,
you're magical.
you're so sweet. I'm just so at this
Well,
point, I'm just so happy, you know, to just
why do you
to
think
be,
you got the campaigns?
you know, I think I'm good at what I do. I had a guy just reach out to me. I don't know if I should say his name, but he's a producer and very accomplished and very good. And he works with other people. And he said to me, do you ever have moments of doubt, you know, as a talent?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no. He's really, I said, no,
Yeah.
no, I think I can do anything. I mean,
Mm.
I can't speak Spanish. I mean, if you put Spanish in front of me, I'm going to, kill it. But I mean, no, but no, I don't have, at this point, I do not have any doubts until if the voice craps out or something like that, then yeah, but until that, you can put anything in front of me. And
Do you think you
I,
ever had doubts though?
one time I remember feeling so bad in a session for Speed Channel that I won the audition and I won the booking, and my voice wasn't deep that day. It was really raspy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on ISDN with these two guys, and they're like, really give it to us like speed, just bleh. And I couldn't do it. It was like right now on speed. And it was just like,
Mm.
I felt so bad and I was nervous, and that made everything tighten up and the stress in the throat even more. And then I said, guys, if you want to use someone else, I understand. Which was like, are you kidding? That's like being an actress or an actor and going, I'm sorry. Whenever you make a mistake, don't apologize. And they're like, no, it's fine. We got 2 more minutes into it. He goes, would you mind if we, did use somebody? I'm like, no, that's okay. Okay, bye. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, that's the only time. And that was like maybe over 20 years ago.
Mm.
So that was that one time. Other than that, I've been in Los Angeles at CBS with laryngitis. For some dumb reason, I've gotten laryngitis like 2 or 3 times flying to LA. And I was on shows on CBS going into the booth doing like Jericho, these deep kind of,
Yeah.
and it was like, Monday 8/7 Central, but it was like Monday 8/7 Central on CBS, and they're like, great. I'm like, oh God, I just hope it doesn't crap out. Oh God, oh God, oh God. You actually, oops,
What?
some news music was playing under me. It was part of my Pro Tool session. Um, you, I wouldn't say you get sick a lot, but do you get sick a lot?
No, I have allergies.
Okay.
So
Sometimes
different.
we've both had to not do our podcast because of awful
I
viruses and shit.
I did get the virus that was going around, and I was out for like 10 days over Christmas. Thankfully, it was during that week when things were slow anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And everyone in the house was sick. Everyone I knew was sick. I had
Mm.
students canceling left and right. It was just this huge thing that came through. But sick where I cannot work is a rarity.
Mm-hmm.
I just have to deal with allergies. And like this morning, I'm driving in going, how are my allergies today? Oh, okay. I think I'm all right. I'm not going to be coughing up too many frogs. But
Right.
sick. No, not too often.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. just bad timing, I guess. Sometimes when we're trying to connect one of these, like I don't. And then I was like, I'm sick. I got COVID again between Christmas and New Year's. So
Yeah. And then before that, you were, going to see your dad, and
hmm
and then the last time you and I were supposed to connect, I screwed up on the scheduling, and one of my Spectrum students showed up with his dad, and
okay,
I can't turn him away. So that's why I was
right,
like, oh, I gotta just go ahead and do this lesson. And unfortunately, I
right.
can't be, right. But it's all been excuses like that.
So how are you doing? What's going on? Just a lot of teaching, a lot of is that like just every day? You do that every day?
Yeah,
Wow,
my coach.
every day.
My Fridays are completely booked out with students now. Everybody loves
Mm.
Fridays, but I have regulars on Fridays, and now I just got because I max at 3 students a day because I got to get my other voiceover work done.
hmm hmm
So now I have 3 on Friday that are every Friday,
You
and
do you look forward to it? Is it just like?
yeah, I mean each one is so different, which is cool.
Mhm.
But like I have a new guy coming today that I don't know anything about him. He just went ahead and bought a package. So he's just
Wow.
showing up. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to talk to him and see, what's happening. But I have to say, voiceover work, I've been doing a lot of voiceover work. So
Great.
I got busy, like really busy, like October, November, and then it maintained, and I'm very busy now. And then the students, yeah, very fortunate, because I don't seek new work for voiceover.
hmm
So I'm just grateful that what
Right.
comes in. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, look, the coaching is fantastic, but it's extra fantastic when you're working with someone on the spectrum. Or what I'm seeing a lot these days is kids with anxiety issues,
Wow.
you know,
Yeah.
and
That.
depression. And
hmm
I had one yesterday, going through stuff, and she's, 18. They're all like in that key area, 17 to 25.
hmm hmm
Um, and with social media and all the pressures that they have, can't imagine.
Wow. So you really get a sense, of adolescence, that age,
True.
and what those kids are like. I don't. My
Yeah.
daughter's 25 and
Yeah.
moved away 6 years ago. So, but yeah, that's amazing. So they come in. And do they stay with you? Do you, okay, we'll see you next week, or just what do they stay, or does anybody
A
come
lot of
in
them.
and what it's like when you get a cancellation? Like, yeah, it's like,
I'm
Travis doesn't want to come in, or just, whatever, and he doesn't
I'm
want to do it anymore. He just,
I'm very flexible because I have work I have to do anyway. So
hmm
sometimes when I get the cancellation, I'm like, yes, I can now get, things done. But I tell people, if you're not feeling well, if you're not mentally feeling well, cancel. Don't waste a lesson if you're not going to be 100%. As actors, we got to bring it. We got to
hmm
get all that vulnerability and be good and feel good. And, it's not like it's cheap to take lessons. So I always tell people, and I don't ever charge penalties or anything, so
Oh,
super duper flexible. But I've had students now coming, I've got 4 years. I've got 3 of them that have been coming for 4 years every week, same time.
wow, that's good. Are
Yeah.
they? Is it? Do you find? Do you find as a teacher that it's not necessarily about these kids are going to go get a career in VO?
Right.
That we know this is probably not going to happen. This is for them to be, you've had to probably become this whole new kind of therapist, almost
Yeah.
like almost like therapy,
Yeah.
and really get into these kids' heads, and especially if they have challenges, right? And
Yeah.
you get to, you have to be, I bet you have to be patient,
Oh.
because if they don't, they don't
I'm an
focus completely.
extremely patient person. If I
hmm
wasn't, I wouldn't be in this business because it's just, I just and I'm compassionate person, but each person is different. And I just, we don't necessarily talk about their issues or their problems.
Right.
That's what they have at home and what they deal with. What they do
hmm
here is they expand on whatever it is that excites them. Do they love anime? Do they love cartoons? Do they love video games? Do they, and we dive into that. We read a lot of screenplays from animated movies. Um,
Wow.
they
And
act them
so you
out.
prepare this. So, you have a student coming in who likes whatever. And so you get you
Yeah.
get the scripts and everything. That's cool.
Not that they're on the spectrum, they're very decisive. So I really can't sway them. So they'll come in and I'll just say, what do you want to do today? And then they'll tell me and then I'll get the stuff for them. But, it's just a different way to coach. And then I have folks that obviously are making demos and they want to do this for a living, but that's always my first when I meet someone. I go, is this going to be a career? If not, then we're going to go the creative route. And trust me, I turned somebody away last week because I was like, this is a business. This is a business. Yeah, but my voice, no. Has nothing to do with
my favorite is somebody calls and says or sends me an email going, I have a friend who
who's this friend? It's you.
I have a friend who no, they like, some like a producer that I work with, like at a cable channel.
Okay.
I have a friend who wants to get into the voiceover business and wants to know what to do and where. And so my next question is, do you do remote? Do you do like Zoom and things like, okay, you do? Well, I know where to send them now.
Oh, you're asking me. Oh, yeah. I think
because I just go listen to VO people and make a website, get a demo produced. I'm not going to do it, but you can go do it. I remember it used to weigh heavy on me when someone said, hey, and I would go, fuck, I've got so much to do. And then I'm like, but I mean, I feel good about answering. I mean, I should.
I know.
I mean, in my business, I was told and I've learned and I want, and it is a part of me that there's a great responsibility in paying it forward.
Yeah, but you pay it forward in other ways. You don't need to be coaching and
not coaching, but I mean just answering, just answering and corresponding. There's a kid who sent me something back in 2014, and and he's saying I want to talk to you.
Yeah,
and I'm like trying to find time to actually get on the phone and talk to him, and I do. I feel he's sitting in my inbox. I didn't go, You
haven't spoken to him? It's 10 years?
I'll correspond with him over email.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? But as far as, and it's not like I'm above talking to people on the phone. I mean, a lot of people, seasoned talent reach out to me. He's great voice guy reached out to me just recently and said he wanted to get into television affiliate. I want to break into TV affiliate. And so, he's a professional. This is how he pays his bills. This is how he eats food, pays his rent. So I feel good. Some like comedians, like Jerry Seinfeld feels really connected talking to someone like, Eddie Murphy or
right.
Because he's another comedian, so talking about voiceover to voiceover professionals is always so rewarding, because we're all doing this and we've all been doing it for decades. And, we all experience the same thing. And whatever. There's a guy right now on, I don't try to fault people, but there's a guy right now that's blowing up on my Instagram saying, you want to get into voiceover and you don't have a good voice. It doesn't matter. You did. And he's just promising everything.
Oh God.
I will teach you blah, 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 blah. And I look at him and he has a good voice, but it's just one of those guys who's just like trying to capitalize on the voiceover industry.
Can you write in the chat window the name of this person?
What's that? I don't know. I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
I will tell you. I'll find it.
Yeah.
But he just goes on there and he just promises, I'll show you. And I click to forward it to other people. And it's an ad.
Yeah.
So he has specifically set it up to where it can't get forwarded. You have to click for information or whatever. It's not. Yeah. And I'm not worried about competition or anything. I'm just worried about his enthusiasm is very high. It's way up there. And
it's false advertising as to what he's selling.
Yeah.
This is what I fight against constantly, which is why everything that comes out of my mouth and the people I work with is complete reality.
Mm-hmm.
You have people there on TikTok that are saying, I just got online and made $5,000 in one day. They don't address anything else that goes into this. So this is why it's of utmost importance that we talk about these things, because I'm getting people coming to me that have dropped like $4,000 on a demo. Yeah, there's a particular
Oh,
producer out there that charges like 3 to 4 grand.
oh my
And
God.
apparently he spends like a day with them. And then, of course, he sends the audio files off to another person to mix.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
the people wind up upset because they're like, I barely got any coaching and I dropped all this money
Yeah.
and I'm unhappy, and it's
Yeah.
not cool. So,
Well, I think it's important that we talk about this. I
yeah,
do, because I think it's, well, we've talked, don't, it has to be, I mean, who am I to say, but I'm going to say it. You have to want this. It has to be in you. It has to be a part of who you are. It, don't you remember when we were getting into this, all we wanted to do was be behind a microphone. We
yeah,
were euphoric in studios. We would stay up until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning if we had to. We would literally fight sleep to do it. This whole like, somebody told me I have a good voice and I want to get into this. And it's like, fine. And if somebody wants to do that and they're informed and they want to go and they want to discover and do whatever, that's great. But there are people out there that exactly what you said. There are people out there that are like, just like on the Instagram, that'll say, I have a side hustle making $100,000 a day.
yeah,
Click on my link and I'll show you how. Follow me and I'll show you how.
yeah. I know when you and I were starting out, I remember it would get me so excited just to even go to your studio. I
Mm,
loved the darkness. It was like the cool factor of walking in.
yeah.
I didn't know what anything was, but it was just that vibe, and that's what I would visualize doing in New York City is going. And I love to go into those studios
Mm-hmm.
because that's part of it. And you're like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to perform.
When I moved out of my house, in Fort Myers and out of a bedroom, and I built that first studio where I met you. It was a tiny little space. It was a tiny little control room and a decent sized voice booth, maybe like a 10 by 10 or something like that. And I remember the euphoria and the excitement to design it.
Yeah.
With track lighting and, and with dimmers. So I
And
can go.
how much did it cost for you to build that studio?
I mean, very expensive. What do you mean, like the construction of it or the equipment?
The equipment. How much?
Oh, Jesus Christ! I mean, this is a great conversation because what it cost to do that in like '93, and now you can do it for like $10. You get a $5 USB mic and plug it into your laptop and go, hey, it's not going to sound very good, but you can record. First of all, back then there was no internet. Right. It was like Prodigy or like AOL. We weren't delivering stuff over the internet. So you had tape-based, equipment. So I remember I took $50,000 and said, okay, I'm going to build a studio for $50,000. And the Mac Quadra computer it was 92. Was $6,000 just for the Apple computer. And that was cheap. I got it part of a package. It was more like, I looked it up the other day to go, how much for that computer again? It was like $9 grand. So it was $6,000, but this is what it had. It had a 33 megahertz processor. The drive inside of it was 220 meg, not gig. 220. It was loaded with RAM. Loaded with it. 8 meg of RAM. Not gig, meg. And that was just the computer. Then the monitor was a 16-inch tube monitor, RGB monitor, and it was $1,250. Then if you want me to keep going, then I had to get a microphone. I got a Neumann U87, so it was like $2,500. And then I got like a mic processor because that's what I used in the beginning. That was probably $500. And then because I was like with the music place up in Washington, I'm like, what do I need? And they're like, you idiot. So I got some English mixer, an AMEC board, that Mackie didn't exist yet. You couldn't go get a mixer for $8, $80. So that was thousands of dollars. And then I needed 2 DAT machines. That was, I think those were $1,200, $1,400 a piece. That was $8 grand. And then Pro Tools. Now,
yeah, what was Pro Tools like back then?
Pro Tools was it was there was one interface. It was a rack-mounted interface that had four inputs and 4 outputs, so you could do 4 channels of audio, and that was $4,100 for that. And I wanted 8 channels, so I had to get another one. So now you're at $8,200 to do 8 tracks.
Jeez.
Pro Tools was not Pro Tools. It was called Pro Tools, but DigiDesign, the company that made it, had a company called OSC make the software, and there was a recording software out there called Deck. It was called Deck.
Mm-hmm.
And so it became Pro Deck. It wasn't Pro Tools. It was called Pro Tools. And here's a program to use, part of Pro Tools called Pro Deck. And so Pro Deck was the recording software, and you couldn't see the audio you got just a palette that said record, stop, back up, but you couldn't, and a counter, and there was no audio wave. And so I'm going to record. And so you got to remember, back before tape, when you're on tape, you need to see the machine running or something, like the reels going around, and it's like record. It's like, hello, and the meter's going up and down on the screen. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm recording. And then you stop, but you couldn't see it, so you had to back it up and like listen to it. And then when you were ready to edit it, you had to push like F5, and then it would go switching to Pro Deck, drawing over waveform overviews, and you would leave. You'd go to the store, you'd go shopping or whatever, and you'd come back, and then it would be on the screen where you could edit it, but you couldn't add to it. You could cut it up, move it around.
Wow.
But the awful thing was the computer, this blowtorch Mac Quadra computer couldn't do 8 tracks. The drive in the processor inside it was, I'm sorry, I needed a external hard drive to record to.
Oh my God.
Big as a car battery, like a motorcycle battery. And it was 1 gig.
1 gig.
And it was, I think it was $1,500.
Wow.
And it was literally this big and had a fan on it. So you're trying to do voiceover in the room, things like, you're like, it's running over there. And the cord to the drive was only this big, because if it was any longer, the data wouldn't travel. So the computer couldn't do 8 tracks. It could do 4. Yeah. Even though you had 2 8-track interface, 2 4-track interfaces plugged into it with cards in the computer, but those had to be plugged into. So they're like, you want to do 8 tracks, you need a system accelerator card, $5,300.
Oh my God.
So now just to do 8 tracks of audio on a crashy computer was over 10 grand.
Wow.
It was like, $4,100, $5,200, $1,200 or $1,500 for the hard drive, $6,000 for the computer, and it didn't work.
Wow.
That's the sucky thing.
Yeah.
It didn't work. I recorded it. I would record and it would crash. It would lock up. It was Pro Tools version 1.0. Cutting edge. And it was,
Wow.
Yeah.
So you think it was like 50 grand?
It was $50,000. Yeah. And then I had a real machine.
ISDN line, the Telos Zephyr. Is that when you got that too?
No, I didn't get the ISDN line until I moved to Fort Myers. This is when I was building it in Richmond. When I lived in Richmond, I was building it in my house in Richmond. But that's not including the reel-to-reel machine. I had an Atari MX5050, this gorgeous MX5050, and it was thousands of dollars for this reel-to-reel machine. And I had to get a cassette deck. You had to put stuff on cassette. It was all professional grade stuff. That's probably
why Dave doesn't throw out any of the old equipment. I think he feels like he spent all that money and he likes to look at it or something.
Right. Yeah. Like the Korg SoundLink.
Yeah. Tascam, reel-to-reels and stuff that are
the Tascam, the BR. If you remember my reel-to-reel machine in my studio, it was a Tascam BR20. It was we had 2 of them. We had a Atari in one studio and a BR20. A Tascam was just beautiful. It was a workhorse machine. It was gorgeous. The whole nostalgic, side of loading up tape and was amazing. Not very economical, right. Noise, just distortion and noise, but it was
when
it was
did you
fun.
Move to the Sennheiser 416?
Chris Corley said you should get it. I was using I bought a Neumann U87, which was a gorgeous microphone, but it was also it's picked up everything. So if anybody walked by the door,
it would pick it up.
You would, you'd hear it. But no, I didn't get a 416 until I bet early 2000s or something like that. I think I used an AKG C3000B was a little microphone that I used, and it was great and it was awesome, but it wasn't this one.
Hmm.
But yeah, but I got this in I was at Sky Audio. I think I had it maybe I don't know
This is
2000 and
the late Chris Corley.
yeah, he had it before anybody. I mean, like the real Don Steele, I think was a voiceover guy, a jock and a voiceover guy in LA, and Don Steele, Ernie Anderson used one at ABC, and he used a different model of it, but that was the whole idea.
Oh,
And then
sidebar
Corliss.
quickly. I was thinking about you the other day because Jim Cutler,
Mm-hmm.
remember him?
Mm-hmm.
So he lives on Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he and his wife, he is cranking it out still, like wall
Jim
to
Cutler.
wall.
Jim Cutler is like,
I remember him from the early days,
yeah,
and
hardest
he's
working
saying
guy.
he was working a ton then.
Jim Cutler is amazing. Amazing. He has a ton of television stations, a ton of radio stations. I hear him everywhere. He's just he lives in his studio.
Yeah. But
He
think
lives
about
in his
this. This is
studio.
like the mid 90s when you and I were hanging out, and you
Mm-hmm.
had pointed him out to me.
Oh, really?
And he was working like crazy there too.
Well, he's I know I know how he works because I do the same thing. You literally live in your studio. You go in the morning and just crank it out, crank it out, and crank it out, and crank it out. And you don't finish until you're done, and you're available after hours because someone on LA is going to call you, and be that's it.
A kid here in the studio, he's learning. He's like a budding writer for sports. Anyway, he had to go
Mm-hmm.
interview someone, so he spent a day at their house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I didn't even realize that he was local to here. But
He's I talked to him one time. One time on the phone. I got my first Tribune television station, and he was the voice of like WGN. You know, he's doing all that stuff,
yeah.
and he was very established in television. He was like a lot of Tribune stations, and I got the Tribune station in Miami, and a guy named Rick Felty, who was head of creative, said we pay 3 different rates for television market. Small market $750 a month, medium market $1,500 a month, and like large market maybe like 3,000 or something like that. I don't remember large markets. I wasn't doing anything. Pardon me. Anyway, so yeah, and Rick was like, and we don't want to deal with any agents, so do not have your agent call our stations because we'll fire you. And he goes, look, call Jim Cutler. Here's his number. So I called Jim Cutler. This is in like 1999. I called Jim Cutler, and he's like, studio or Jim or whatever the audience. Okay, this is Brian Lee. He's like, who? I mean, nobody knew me. And I'm like, Brian Lee. I said, Rick Felty told me to call you. So he knew who Rick Felty was.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay. So what's up? And I'm like, Rick Felty wanted me to talk to you. I just picked up a Tribune TV station in Miami, and he wanted me to call you and have you discuss the mentality of Tribune broadcasting or how it works and whatever. And Jim was still like, I'm sorry, who are you? And then he was like, he goes, oh, he goes, oh man, I'm sorry, man. I hate voice guys. That's what he said. And I'm like, what? And then, but I don't know if he was joking or not. He didn't hang up the phone with me or anything, but he goes, oh yeah, okay. And then he was cool. And then I don't remember our conversation being that long, but then he was like, no. Yes, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do this. And he was like, you paying your agent commission for this? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, don't do that. He didn't get the free. And he's like, don't. And I'm like, scared. So I paid my agent commission anyway.
Yeah.
He was, because he had been in business forever. He wasn't.
That's funny.
But yeah, that's yeah. And he had a very cool system of, I remember hearing that he would go out of town every weekend to visit clients.
Oh, wow.
Every weekend. That's what I heard, that he would actually get on a plane and fly. He and Dawn, his wife, who also does voiceover and manages their empire, would get on a plane and go visit a client. And they would go to a baseball game, or they would go out to dinner, or just whatever. He just really treated his clients amazing.
Wow.
And every weekend. So they go out on Saturday, wherever, whatever, dinner, whatever, and then spend time on Sunday with a client, whatever, and then fly home Sunday night every single weekend.
You think he still does that?
That's what I heard. What?
You think he still does that?
I don't know.
Because
I'm not on social media, so I don't follow it, and I don't even know if he is anymore. He used to do some really cool blogs and stuff a long time ago, and it's like, here Dawn and I are in Maine or something beautiful.
I only know because this kid wrote an article, and then I was like, oh wait, Jim, that name is so familiar.
Jim is just an absolute veteran.
Yeah.
He's a veteran in this business, and
he's still cranking.
And he's still cranking. He's just cranking out just tons and tons and tons of stuff all the time. And and it's interesting too, because he just continues to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he's older than me too. What's that?
Mostly do the TV affiliate work. Is that?
It's like Jim and I are aligned very much the same.
Yeah.
Completely aligned. I don't hear him on trailers though. I don't hear Jim on movie trailers, but I do hear him on a lot of cable. We work Nickelodeon together. He's in every TV market,
Right. So if you're a TV affiliate voice,
mm-hmm.
you potentially have how many stations?
I mean, over 40,
yeah.
50.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And television keeps you busy.
Yeah.
Even though I'm on cable channels, cable networks and stuff like that, and trailers, and radio, it's the TV stations that crush you all day long.
Because it's like update. You're talking about news?
Just TV stations, everything.
Really?
News, promo. Yeah. Like, for instance, I have no TV yet. Oh, there's Chicago. Chicago just came in.
What do you have to do for Chicago?
Look at this banged up SUV, the wreck. Oh, look at this banged up SUV. The wreck was bad, but the red tape was worse. The company rented her in a legal car and left her on the hook. Tickets, legal fees, and more, until CBS 2 took action. Lauren Victory investigates how the company could allow this. Alternate, Lauren Victory investigates. Thursday on CBS 2 News at 10. So that's in.
You're hired.
Yeah.
But they would send you. They could possibly send you other stuff today too.
Who?
This station. This particular station. This one station.
What about them?
This Chicago, right? So they could potentially send you other things as well today.
I guess they could send me 100 things today.
Right. So this is what keeps guys like you and gals.
Yeah. Like I voice CNBC, Jim Cutler voices MSNBC.
Oh, wow.
We both work for Nickelodeon. We both work for Paramount Network, really? Paramount Plus. But I hear him on other really cool things like Access TV, and just for like rock shows and whatever. He's huge on like ESPN radio. So whenever I'm in a car, I always hear him go ESPN radio. I always hear him on the bumpers, and he like voices, I think, like every ESPN radio station. Mm-hmm. So he is. I wouldn't think there was anybody busier than me. But
you're on MSNBC?
CNBC.
So yeah, yesterday Matt was watching CNBC. I'm in the kitchen and I could hear, and I heard your voice. And I go, oh yeah, I got a podcast episode with Brian tomorrow. It was like, and I'm like, I got to reach out to Brian.
Yeah. Like Mad Money just came in for Jim Cramer for CNBC. Coming up, earnings are in for this fast casual guac star. Find out who's cooking this quarter with the Chipotle CEO next. And then coming up, global with a chance to profit. This industrial giant reports and markets move. Kramer's got the CEO when Mad Money returns. So that comes in. I did the Aflac trivia report this morning for them, which is this whole thing about it's time now for Aflac's trivia question. In honor of National Women in Sports Day, who was the first long-distance woman swimmer to cross the English Channel in both directions? The answer, when Squawk Box returns. And then a commercial for Aflac, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. And then and now the answer to today, the answer, Florence May Chadwick. The California native swam across the English Channel in record-breaking time in 1950 and again in 1951. So I do 3 of those every week.
I want your job. I want to do
your job. Yes. Yeah. You want my job. You don't want to have to leave. You don't want to have to ever be able to leave your studio for lunch with a friend.
Yeah. I'm perfectly happy with my life. I'm happy for you too. As long as you're happy, then you know.
I mean, I am. I mean,
It's your life. It's what you do, and it's not like you're missing something else.
no. I mean, it's a
Money
dream job.
sure isn't it?
It's a dream job. It's a dream job and a dream career. And, when the industry does what the industry does and the clientele does what the clientele does, I'll welcome it. I'll be like, okay, time to retire
Yeah.
or time to crank it back.
You had mentioned to me the last time I spoke to you that you've had to reinvent yourself.
Oh, sure. Probably
So
five times.
5 times. So tell me about one of them.
Well, I think that the first reinvention was when I made my biggest inroads in voiceover.
Mm.
And that was to do the middle of the road read, kind of like Reno Romano, but he was an LA talent and I was an East Coast talent. So it's just a kind of a middle of, I did it in your studio. I recorded and I was on your ISD inline sitting in your studio for Sci-Fi.
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
And that right there was the beginning of a sound, weeknights on Sci-Fi. Because everything was like in a world. Everything was Don LaFontaine or Joe Cipriano going, The Simpsons, or King of the Hill. Everybody loves Raymond on Fox, doing that stuff. But there was no one doing this middle thing. There was no one going, coming up next on Sci-Fi. They would want, like coming up next. And
how did you figure this out? Or did someone coach you into it? Or what? How did you know to try that?
No, just wanted to be different when I went into recording sessions or auditions because I didn't want to sound like anybody else. Yeah. And it was easy. It was a money read. It was easy. It was in the middle. It wasn't too deep for me. And it wasn't screaming high or pukey. It was just kind of this middle, coming up next, Star Trek on Sci-Fi. This program is brought to you by Dial. It was just a middle of the road read. And it was so digestible and palatable for whoever was listening. Oh, this sounds good. It's not high. It's not pukey. It's not forced. It's not, it's just kind of in the middle like this. And
that now too.
Yeah, but so does everybody else.
Oh,
when I did it, I got every audition. It was just like it was crazy. In fact, it got to the point where I knew I was going to get it. I knew it. I knew when I got an audition for NBC, the network. I said, I know I'm going to get it.
That's awesome.
I know I'm going to become a voice on this network. I just knew it because it was where we were in the industry at the time. And there was just no one doing it. And I remember A&E, just A&E, Sci-Fi Channel. And I was the voice of CNN and CNBC at the same time.
Wow.
Just, and on 3, 4, 5 movie trailer campaigns at any given time.
Oh.
All rom-coms. Love Always, rated PG, things like that. And so that was the biggest springboard. It was like, I could do no wrong. It just.
What years was this?
2006 was like the biggest year. It was huge. It was a huge year. That was the year I started doing movie trailers. That was the year I got NBC. That's the year I got A&E. I was already on I think I had already done CNN. Ellen DeGeneres and Tyra Banks at the same time.
DeGeneres, yeah.
At the same time.
Wow.
Why? Telepictures, what were they thinking? It was just next Tyra, next Ellen. It was just.
You were the guy.
Yeah, I was just so lucky. Just so fortunate. I used to do the Tyra stuff, and they go, okay, we're going to dial you up from Studio B. Okay, see you, bye. Click. Hey, what's going on? They're literally on the other side of the wall, and now it's time to do the Ellen stuff.
Wow.
And then Wendy Williams and Katie Couric.
Oh my God.
All of their shows. And then I started traveling to LA in 2006 and going into the trailer houses. I remember going into Mark Woolen and Associates, and now I just got done doing a huge campaign. Poor Things was all Woolen, and going into Craig Murray, which is now Motion, and then going to CBS and working at CBS, and then going to NBC and working at NBC down in the basement at the KNBC building. I used to sit there and I was going in, and the Days of Our Lives cast was going in the nether door, down the soap
Oh,
opera.
that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then I came on. I can't believe that a kid in Fort Myers, Florida it was probably the very first talent that NBC, ISDN was like, if you can't come in and there's a traffic jam and something blew up, you can do it at ISDN.
Mm-hmm.
But they embraced it. Vince Manzi and John Miller, who were running what was called the NBC agency back, and that was Must See TV, Must See Thursday on NBC. And it was just like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to dial you, and then we're going to work. You're going to do 5-6 promo packs a day, and then Fox, X-Files, and I do the Special Forces, World's Toughest Test on Fox. That's all ISDN. American Idol radio campaigns.
Wow.
For that, yeah. And just trailer. So, I mean,
at the heart of it, though, is what you first started talking about before.
What's that?
Believing that you can do this.
Yeah, knowing. You see yourself. I don't believe that you can do anything unless you see yourself. It's not a dream. You see yourself on the stage. You see yourself. You hear yourself. Like before I even got an agent, and it was a recommendation. Somebody told me you need to get a real agent, and that was in 1998. And I'm going to send your demo to an agency. But there was no competition. You had to go into a studio to be a talent. And who had that?
Mm-hmm.
My demo went to that agent on cassette tape.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was 1998. That was over 20 years ago. There was no internet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there might be email, but no media,
Let me ask you a question to help me.
Yeah.
I get a lot of people that are like, oh, I want to be a trailer guy. What do I tell them?
Go be a trailer guy.
But they want to know how to do it.
I mean, just
it's a small percentage of the voiceover industry.
It's
so
tiny.
People are wanting to go into this niche.
I don't know how to explain it. It's just it's like saying I want to be Taylor Swift. Okay, go be Taylor Swift. It's just like, and it might look like that. Like, how is that attainable?
Yeah.
And I would say that Taylor Swift started when it was attainable. Everything has changed now. Do you know what I mean? She got there, and her dad, I guess her Taylor Swift's dad was like a financial guru or advisor or something like that, or trader.
Mm-hmm.
And he immediately went out and bought, 600,000 albums of her, and made her go platinum. He did, whatever. When you could do something like that. And it was more of a face-to-face. There was more of a passion. This industry wasn't a failing industry of where local TV is going or where the movie theater business is going. Everyone's doing it on their phones or watching it on TV. It was a different time. And the people I'm working with now are the people that were in the trenches doing this when it was a different time. And so they're sticking with the talent that's been doing it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's why there's 10 guys doing trailers, because we've been doing it. And I'm not saying there's no room for anybody else, but there is a mentality of age, right? That you've taught me a lot, Linda, about the attitude of a Gen Z. You know what I mean? And it's just like, I remember you told me a story about somebody came in or you wanted to interview somebody, and they were on their phone or on their bike or something. And they were,
yes.
And you're like, Woody, and he's like, can I call you in like 15? I'm on my bike. And you're like, no.
Right.
And so I liken that to the trailer industry. My manager will call and go, where are you at?
Mm-hmm.
I'm home. Good. Oh, good. Can so-and-so, can you do a trailer for so-and-so? It's just, and I think that I don't want to speak ill of a generation, but they don't want to be put out.
Right. Right.
There's other traits too that just don't line up.
Mm-hmm.
If it's oh, you're such a boomer, it's like, well, yeah, I am. And we're all boomers, or we're all Gen X. And this is the way that we do things, and we get it done. Mm-hmm. There's, what's expected of you, and it just makes things work.
Right. As
It
opposed
just,
to accommodating the talent and
you know,
what.
some, I want to do this, you know, and I'm sorry, but I don't know if I'm being fair, but as Gen Xers, the whole millennial attitude and Gen Z attitude is something that we make fun of. They can make fun of us all. We all old and boomery and just nah, 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 and you work your ass off and you don't, you know, it's all about, I'm not going to, the clock says 5, I leave at 5. I'm not coming in before 9 and just, you know, whatever. Well, guess what? The trailer industry is so far away from that.
Mm-hmm.
It is so different. It's like, need to do this now. Not like, well, do I have to do it now? Can we do it tomorrow? Can you wait an hour? It's like, no, we can't.
Right.
We can't wait an hour. You're on this campaign. You know you're on this campaign. You need to be available. They not say that. They won't say that to me. They're not here to be my parent, but they know I know this.
Right. Yes.
In fact, they don't even think about it. They go, Brian's on the campaign. He's going to be around.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be, where's Brian? Oh, God. He's going to be around. And this isn't even a personal relationship with the trailer house or the producer or the editor or the studio for that matter. We pick up the phone. It's the bat phone, man. They call the manager and the manager goes, okay, let me get him for you. Where you at? You around? Yep. Good.
Yeah.
Not like I'm out at a movie. I'm out at dinner. I'm out, you know, whatever. I don't want to do this. I'm like, can we do it Monday?
Yeah. Well, then as far as I'm concerned, if that's the attitude, you don't really want to do it. So go do something else.
Yeah. But it's not, I don't think I should. I don't think I should have to do this. It's about me. Think about me. You're asking, you want me. You want me to be the voiceover guy. Then we're going to do it my way.
Yeah, I know. It's complete ridiculousness.
Whatever.
And it's not even to the extreme points like you're with the trailer houses, like you're saying. It's like in like the bat phone. Here, just having a regular voiceover career, you have to be available. At least respond in a timely manner and not blow people off.
Yes. I give everyone my cell phone number. There's people I'm not going to give that person my cell phone number. It's like, why?
Yeah. It's
a conduit. It's a connection. It's a tether to you. Yes, that's right. It's a tether and I don't want to be tethered. It's like, well, then you know what? Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's a little jump around and say, I want to be a trailer talent or I want to be this, I want to be that, but I don't want to work for it.
I know.
I don't want to do even my agent says that. People don't want to work. People say, oh, they go crying to the agent. I want to get into this. I want to get into promo. I want to do this. And the agent says, well, then can you get me a demo by Monday?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, why can't you just sell my demo? Because I need a promo demo. And then it's Monday comes around. And then if the agent even gives a shit, they'll go, did you make your promo demo? No. Well, then you really don't want it that badly, do you?
Right. Yeah. Uh-oh. I lost you. Hello? Brian, there you are.
There we go. So what was the last thing you heard?
I heard the demo. You didn't make a demo, then you must not want it.
Yeah, must not want it bad enough.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how it's always been, as far as I'm concerned, for our generation.
Right. So I mean, I don't care. You know, I've gotten to the point in my life where I say that I'm lucky because I want to be humble. I say that I'm lucky. I'm so fortunate. You always hear me say that I'm so fortunate. And when I'm interviewed, I say, it doesn't matter if it's a tiny little job or a network or a trailer. Somebody wants your voice for their project.
Mm-hmm.
It's a privilege.
Somebody
wants to hand you money. You're grateful. You're just grateful.
I don't feel that I would tag you as lucky because of all the hard work you put into it.
And that's what my dearest friends say. They're like, you work so hard. You've worked for
luck.
every single. Yeah, well, luck favors the prepared.
Yes. When I was doing really, really well, somebody who's no longer my friend would say, oh, you're getting all these big things because you're really lucky. And it offended me because I'm like, do you understand how long I have been working towards this? And, she didn't. She just thought, oh, it's just easy to book that. It's just easy to have that huge campaign.
That's so easy.
Yeah. And there's zero luck involved. What do they say? Opportunity plus preparedness equals good luck.
Right. Yeah.
So you got to put yourself in the right
Right. In the right frame of mind. So anybody can say they want to be a trailer talent. And I remember I likened it to some very nerdy story here, and it's very short. But I remember my father was an amateur radio operator. It's ham radio. And nobody out there is going to know it unless you're, a little older. But back before cell phones and whatever, you could get this. It's kind of like a big CB radio, but it's single sideband. It works on a different, but you can talk all around the world on it. And when I was a kid, my father became a ham radio operator, and he put this radio and he put a tower out in the backyard, and he would say, CQ, CQ, WD4JWV, Whiskey Delta 4, Juliet Whiskey Victor calling CQ and listening. And then all of a sudden someone would come in and go, Whiskey Delta 4, Juliet Whiskey Victor, this is WB4KCG, over. WB4KCG, this is WD4JWV. The name here is Steve, Sierra Tango, Echo Victor, Echo, Steve. And the QTH is Sarasota, Florida. Go ahead, WD4JWV, WB4KCG. And then the person would answer and say, QTH is Boston. And I'm like, what? And if he was on a certain frequency, it could be England. Some guy was like, hey, hello, Steve. Hello. Hello, cheerio. The sun's going down here. I mean, it was, and it sounds like they're next door. Yeah. And I was just like,
fascinated.
But in order to become a ham radio operator, you had to learn Morse code. You could not become a ham radio operator unless you could do 2.5 words a minute in code.
Shoot.
So Linda, did it. That's Linda in Morse code. Guess who learned it? God. And so if Brian is beep 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 beep. That's Brian in Morse code. So he's like, oh, you want to become a ham radio operator? Go learn Morse code. And if you wanted to get other rankings and work other frequencies, you had to be better. It's like you were a novice, you had to 2.5 words a minute. And then to get a tech license, you had to learn, I think, no more. And then a general, you had to do like 10 words a minute, which is like beep, 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 beep. You have to write it down and you have to send it. I never made that. I never wanted to go that high. My dad made a general rating for a ham radio operator. But the story is that the FCC made it to where you could become an amateur radio operator and you didn't have to do Morse code. It's like, learn how to drive, and what don't you have to do now? Can you answer that question? When you take a driving test, we had to do it, and you have to do it in New York for sure. What don't you have to prove driving now when you take a driving test on your driving exam? What's that? No, it's part of driving a car.
Parallel park?
Yes, you do not have to parallel park.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, why? Why not?
New York, you need.
Isn't that just showing that you can back up an angle and do it? Somebody went, nah.
These cars, the new ones do it themselves.
I know, but it's just like, who made that decision? Too many people are failing. Oh shit! It's like maybe we should teach them better.
Making it easy.
I go to Germany, and go to Munich, and then drive down to Austria on an interstate that doesn't have a speed limit. I'm going like 145 miles an hour.
Part of that, yes.
And everybody is insanely good.
Yeah.
The drivers are just they have so much situational awareness. Yeah. People get out of your way. People signal and flash lights, but it's all not get out of my way. It's like, this is what we're doing. It's a dance, and it's so cool. You come to America and you're like, oh God, it's just like people will just kill you in this country. And it's because you cannot get a driver's license over in Germany just by going, here's my name. And I drove in a circle. Yeah, I get to drive. You have to learn. And it's like, I don't know. It's like a major deal over there. But in the end, everybody's on the same page. Here, it's pathetic and scary and dangerous. So I liken that. And so they made it the Morse code thing. They made it, well, you can get your license and you don't have to learn Morse code. Mm-hmm. And so all the veteran code guys, all the veteran radio operators were like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
This guy's now on the air and he didn't have to learn Morse code. He gets this, he doesn't have, and so that's me in trailers.
Yeah.
It's like, I've been doing trailers for a long time, and it's just like, I don't want anybody just to walk in and go, in a world. And the thing about it is The trailer industry isn't going to allow that anyway.
I was going to say, could they even?
No, they're not going to. So when you say you want to break into trailers, then work your ass off, listen to every trailer guy out there, get a read down, learn it, and then talk to your agent about it and see if you can ever get a scratch or an audition. And if you're that good,
agent.
yeah. And if you're a manager and if you're that good, it'll happen. So the answer to all of this is, how do I break into it, whatever? Live it, breathe it, eat it, drink it, shit it. Is this your life? Bathe in it. Obsess about it.
Yeah.
If it's in you, and it's different from a different era, there was no distractions. If you weren't in a studio doing voiceover, or you weren't in a studio doing stuff, you were staring at the floor. Mm-hmm. You were at home watching one of the 3 TV channels. It's this. Now this is the biggest distraction in the world. This right here tells everybody that they don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, even if I wake up at 3 a.m. and I toss and turn for an hour, I might go on my phone and thumb through Instagram.
You're not supposed to do that.
I know, but I'll do it. And just because. And so I saw this guy recently, and he's just like, I don't know if you were ever sent to your room as a kid. Go to your room.
Oh yeah.
That sucked. You know what there was to do in your room? Nothing. What did you do in your room? Nothing.
I would play albums on my little tiny phonograph.
Okay. You'd play albums on
a lot of pleasure.
On your record player.
Yes.
But if your parents wanted you to suffer, they would go, no TV, no record player, no, go sit in your room. Mm-hmm. You know what you could do? Read. They wouldn't say, don't read.
Right.
So, you had no phone, no TV, no radio. No, you have no TV, no radio, no phone. Go to your room.
I pissed off my parents once because my mother's like, go to your room. And I was like, that's a good idea. Now I can spend some time in there by myself.
Yeah, not getting yelled at by you, Mom.
And she was angry because I wasn't upset about it.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I saw an Instagram video where a kid went crazy because you've seen the thing, the mother took the phone away.
Mm-mm.
And the kid just
lost it.
Oh my God. Took a hammer to the house.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And destroyed everything. I mean, the bathroom, the toilet's porcelain. It just became all because she took his phone away.
Oh man.
And she's on her phone showing it, going like, he just talking when he could do his homework, and he was so talking back, and I just took his phone away, and I can't believe oh my God. And everything is shattered. Mirrors are shattered, holes in the wall, just whatever.
But did she never discipline this kid?
I mean, it's crazy, So God bless the kids who have a passion and a focus, and it's about a dream and fighting so hard.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter is 25. She's in Nashville. She's got a call back on a beer commercial in LA.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. She auditioned and she got it. She has a call back today, and she works so hard.
Yeah.
She lives and drinks and eats and breathes music and production and writing and singing and arranging.
It's a chip off the old block.
And none of it comes easy.
Right.
The love of it is what comes easy. The drive of can't wait to get into a room to do it is what comes easy for her.
You know what I'm excited about right now? I'm actually going to take the 2-part course to learn fully Pro Tools.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I know how to do what I do, but I don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to understand it. And for me, it's like, I feel like everything else I do is like autopilot. I know how to do voiceovers. I know how to coach. Mm-hmm. And I need something to expand my brain. Here we are, we're in our 50s. It's like, we got to keep learning.
Right.
And all I think about is starting this course.
Yeah.
Because I love that,
Mm-hmm. I used to be a tech for Pro Tools when it first started. Yep. They gave my number out and they said between 1 and 3 today, would you be available? And they forwarded the tech line to me.
So you're the one I'm going to call when I have questions.
So Brian, yes, yeah. Yeah, you can. Hi, this is Brian. And they're like, hi, I'm having a problem with my. I remember that. Now Pro Tools does a gazillion things,
Yeah.
But
who are your 3 biggest clients?
You mean like retainer fee or like income based or like exposure based or company based?
Company based.
Well, that's a very interesting question, because if I do like 2 or 3 campaigns for Warner Brothers in a year, they're my biggest client.
Mm.
They have paid me the most because I did the most work for them.
So over the last
Paramount. Or
6
Paramount.
months, who were your 3 biggest clients?
NBC, MLB Network,
Mm.
and probably a studio like a Paramount or
And
something
the
like that.
Voiceover Gurus podcast.
And the Voiceover Gurus podcast.
Are you doing the Stanley Cup stuff this year? Are you doing the
No,
games? No.
not this year. Do stuff for the Olympics, mainly in internal marketing and stuff like Emmy submission stuff. They'd say the Olympics, so 8 billion people, I think I have a YouTube link somewhere where I did it for, they talked about when it was COVID and everything. And so here we have the new Olympics coming up, Tokyo Olympics, right? Coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So when all that goes and how many days the Olympics are and whatever wraps, then probably the Olympics division at NBC will probably start writing things and talk about the successes and how many satellites they used and transatlantic lines they used and how many cameras they used.
Oh, wow.
And how many billions of minutes or hours of video of streaming they did and whatever, and put it into
So this
a
is
big
all
package.
post event.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like, hey, will you do the Olympics in Tokyo?
Right.
Which I was up for years ago and I didn't go. And it was Bill St. James was doing all of it back then. And I think Steve Kamer may have been like the sponsorship guy or whatever over there. Clients come and go, like NBC Sports will go away and then they'll come back. CBS Sports will go away and then they'll come back. Fox will go away. Fox will go away and then they'll come back. My business is divided between bookings and between retainer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost half and half.
50-50.
Half is radio and television retainer. And that's a base that I work off of that I know I'm going to make every year because it's contracts. And then the other side is bookings. You're booked for this movie, you're booked for this cable promo, you're booked for this special, you're booked for this or that or whatever.
How many auditions do you think you do? What's your percentage of auditions? As opposed to just direct bookings.
I don't get that many auditions anymore.
Yeah.
I really don't.
The
last audition I got was that I booked was for the National Hot Rod Association, and I wanted it. So I called the agent and I said, I want this.
Oh, wow.
And I said, can you share my enthusiasm with the buyer? I know you got all these voices, but Brian Lee is one of our guys, and he wanted to. I said, you can give a message to the buyer, Yeah. And the buyer was like,
okay.
Wow, we didn't think we could afford him. Actually, it was a really good feeling, or whatever. And they're great. And I'm like, I just want I want to do it, and it's a retained client,
It's a wonderful place to be, Brian.
I say to myself at least once a week, if it all ends today, I got a chance to do everything I ever wanted to do. Everything I ever wanted to do.
I'm so happy. I'm always so happy. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a great place to stop.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can talk forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian. Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love all your insight, and so does everyone else, because they're always saying, "Oh, we love to hear Brian Lee." So that wraps up another episode of the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Of course, I'm going to chop this into 2 episodes because there's so much wonderful content. You're gonna just say, hey, thanks in your promo voice. Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Gurus podcast.
Okay.
Linda, she's great.
Yeah, exactly. Book Linda. Hey, Linda. Linda is an absolute expert in this business, in this field. If you're even interested remotely, call Linda Bruno. There she is. Call her right now. If you don't, your loss. You've been listening to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Have a great day.
Okay, so now I will do my fancy editing.